Okay, how's that? Is that better? That's so weird. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm still getting used to these new mics, I guess. Yeah. Thanks for...
You're watching KOMO News.
A stolen U-Haul and a wild police chase that leads to gunfire. We have new details and new surveillance video from the chaotic moments this morning. Caught on camera, 2 people escape a fiery crash on I-5. What troopers now say led up to this dramatic crash. Relief for some parents and students and uncertainty for others as Seattle Public Schools narrows its budget-cutting proposal to include only 5 school closures now. Thanks for joining us for this special online edition of KOMO News at 11 a.m. ABC is airing a Major League Baseball wildcard game on KOMO right now. We begin with this new video this morning that shows the damage from a wild police chase through two cities in King County. It all started in Kent near Meeker Street and ended in SeaTac, not far from the airport. Kent police say a 19-year-old is now in custody. KOMO's Stella Sun shows us new video of the damage.
Kent police just left the area. They cleaned up some of that police tape, and you can see some of the damage to the driver to the stolen U-Haul plowing through one of these fences. You can see the damage to this structure, the roof just broken up. And on the other end of that structure, that fence also broken down during this pursuit. Home security video shared with KOMO shows the driver of the stolen U-Haul getting chased by police along the 3700 block of South 182nd Street in SeaTac. Moments later, what sounds like crashing, then...
What's really scary is that 5 shots were fired at him. So, what happened that would cause police to show up and shoot at a 19-year-old kid? That's good. I don't know, I'm surprised.
Bill Pesner, who lives in the complex, says he was working while this was all going down.
When I got done with my shift, I came over to see what was happening here. We just put, our HOA built this dog run area for, people have pets.
Kent police say the suspect pulled into this apartment complex, driving to the backside, driving over grass and shrubbery, knocking down fences, damaging structures inside the complex.
By far the craziest thing I've heard.
Police say 2 officers shot at the man, but he was not struck. The man was taken into custody, booked on numerous charges, including possession of a stolen vehicle and eluding police.
I'd probably consider this a one-off. I don't think I need to start putting on my body armor or anything.
Stella Sun, KOMO News.
New at 11, Tacoma's police chief Avery Moore will resume full duties after being placed on administrative leave a week ago. Tacoma city manager making that announcement this morning. She says she placed Moore on leave to enable fact-finding over the personal use of a city asset and statements made about that issue. No more specific details have been released since Moore was placed on leave September 25th. The city manager did say after looking into this, she concluded there was no intent to mislead, but use of that city asset did not meet expected standards of professional judgment. In a statement this morning, Chief Moore says he has accepted discipline and is now ready to move forward and return to work. This morning, homicide detectives are investigating the shooting death of a woman in West Seattle. Officers responded to a shots fired call at a home along Hudson Street near Lewis Avenue yesterday afternoon. They found a 57-year-old woman with multiple gunshot wounds. First responders were unable to save her. Neighbors say it is alarming to have 2 deadly shootings in West Seattle in just 1 week.
Very disturbing. What can you say? Yeah, because this is, generally a nice area, safe area, but, increasingly getting worse.
Seattle police say they're now in the process of interviewing 2 other people who were at the home. No other details have been released about what might have led up to that deadly shooting. DOT cameras captured some dramatic video this morning after a fiery crash along southbound I-5 not far from Boeing Field. Look closely at this and you'll actually see someone crawling on their hands and knees getting out of that burning car. The State Patrol tells us that car carrying 2 people was moving at a high rate of speed when the driver took the exit to the Boeing access road and then crashed. Troopers believe that driver was impaired. The 28-year-old Tacoma man and a 22-year-old Seattle woman were taken to the hospital for treatment. Seattle Public Schools has now made official how many schools will close across the district. District officials originally said up to 21 schools could be shut down. KOMO's Theron Zahn explains which schools were now saved and how the district will choose from a smaller list for closure.
5 schools will be closed. That's down from 21 proposed before. Among the schools saved, all K through 8 and option schools. This after a campaign by parents and students to keep their schools open. Going forward, a quarter of these schools originally set to close will actually be shut down. In the revised plan, no schools with dual language programs or schools with deaf or hard of hearing programs will close. In a letter to parents and students, SPS says it hasn't decided yet which 5 schools will close. Parents at Catherine Blaine in Magnolia say they're relieved.
I'm so happy This has been, scary and heartbreaking because it's such a big part of our community and a big part of our family. And it's just such a relief that we have that hopefully we're off the chopping block.
Administrators say the decisions on which schools will be closed will depend on things such as the school's building, the condition the building is in, as well as the school's overall enrollment. Is it trending upward or downward? SPS says it'll be sharing its recommendation with the school board by the end of the month, so we'll be watching to see which of the 5 schools in the school district, of Seattle School District, will be closed, but down from 21. That is a relief for a lot of parents. Reporting in Seattle, Theron Zahn, KOMO News.
The school board also approved a pay increase for Superintendent Dr. Brent Jones. He'll now be paid nearly $400,000 a year. The board says his contract comes at a time the district needs leadership stability. A Bellevue school principal is now on leave after an email about a swastika found on a wall at Phantom Lake Elementary. The principal first wrote to parents calling the swastika a symbol of hate and said that it was removed immediately. In a follow-up email, the principal said the swastika also can be a symbol for peace, telling parents it has deep historical and cultural significance in other parts of the world, including Hinduism.
It is very evident that the intention in this case, painted on the wall with the specific Nazi appearance, was intended to be a Nazi swastika.
Essentially, the takeaway was that it's okay to have a swastika painted at a children's school.
This creates a trust issue, and I believe the principal should resign.
The district has responded, telling KOMO the matter is under investigation and the principal is on administrative leave to minimize any disruptions. Right now, President Biden is in the Carolinas visiting the areas hit hard by Hurricane Helene. The president will take an aerial tour of some of the devastation, much of it caused by flooding. This new video taken in North Carolina shows a river of mud taking out cars and homes. Helene is now blamed for more than 160 deaths, with many people still missing. Crews are still searching areas cut off by those floodwaters. Many people are still without power or running water. The director of the Federal Emergency Management Agency says the extent of the damage and the topography are complicating relief efforts.
As we look at the infrastructure damages to water, to the cell lines, to power, the ability to get those turned back on is going to be complicated just by the way Appalachia is configured. And so we are going to continue to move resources in as we have been.
FEMA has set up supply distribution centers to get food and water to people. President Biden has ordered 1,000 troops to North Carolina to help with those rescue and relief efforts. Nearly 24 American Red Cross volunteers from the Pacific Northwest are now helping people recover from Hurricane Helene. The Red Cross is issuing an urgent appeal for volunteers who are willing to travel to support emergency shelters for major national disaster relief efforts. Interested volunteers can apply online. We've put a link to the Red Cross site on komonews.com/hotlinks. This morning, Israel is vowing to retaliate for Iran's ballistic missile attack. Iran fired about 200 ballistic missiles into Israel in a span of about 30 minutes yesterday. Israel's air defenses system intercepted most of those missiles, and some were shot down by the U.S. military. But multiple missiles did penetrate that missile defense shield, hitting some Israeli military installations. One of them hit this elementary school in southern Israel, and a piece of one missile the size of a bus killed a Palestinian in the West Bank. Iranian officials say their massive air attack is in response to Israel killing Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, as well as the assassination of the Hamas political leader in Tehran. Israel's prime minister speaking to his nation this morning.
We are in the middle of a tough war against Iran's axis of evil, which seeks to destroy us. This will not happen, because we will stand together, and with God's help, we will win together. We will return our abductees in the south. We will return our residents in the north. We will guarantee the eternity of Israel.
Overnight, Israel continued its military air and ground operations targeting Hezbollah in Lebanon. The Israeli military announcing that 8 of its soldiers were killed in combat. Iran's missile attack, combined with the fighting in Lebanon and Gaza, is fueling fears of a wider conflict in that region. Both the Harris and Trump campaigns are claiming victory this morning after last night's high-stakes vice presidential debate. Senator J.D. Vance and Governor Tim Walz faced off for the first and only time. The debate was quite civil. The two candidates avoided personal attacks. But as KOMO's Lee Stoll reports, there were hard-hitting exchanges on immigration, abortion rights, and January 6th.
In the first and only vice presidential debate between Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance, both men asked if they would support a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran after Iran launched the largest ever ballistic missile attack on Israel.
And look, it is up to Israel what they think they need to do to keep their country safe, and we should support our allies wherever they are when they're fighting the bad guys.
Israel's ability to be able to defend itself is absolutely fundamental. Getting its hostages back, fundamental, and ending the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
On abortion rights, Walz accusing the Trump campaign of planning to create a registry of pregnancies.
It's going to make it more difficult, if not impossible, to get contraception and limit access, if not eliminate access to infertility treatments.
Senator, do you want to respond to the governor's claim? Will you create a federal pregnancy monitoring agency?
No, Nora, certainly we won't.
On the issue of immigration, Vance pressed on Trump's plan for mass deportations.
I had a mother who struggled with opioid addiction and has gotten clean. I don't want people who are struggling with addiction to be deprived of their second chance because Kamala Harris let in fentanyl into our communities at record levels. So you've got to stop the bleeding.
Look, we fix this issue with a bill that is necessary, but the issue on this is what happens when you don't want to solve it. You demonize it.
Candidates sparring over the results of the 2020 election.
I would just ask that, did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
It's a damning non-answer for you to not talk about censorship.
I'm Lee Stoll, KOMO News.
A civil rights complaint has now been filed against the University of Washington on behalf of Jewish students over harassment and discrimination. The complaint alleges that UW knew about anti-Semitic incidents but did not take meaningful steps to address a hostile climate for Jewish students.
Let this be a place where everyone is welcome to learn and do everything else as any other group of others would.
University officials told KOMO News that some alleged anti-Semitic behavior has been reported and is under investigation. And they encourage any Jewish student facing bias or harassment on campus to continue to report it. Today, prosecutors are expected to charge a teenager for a deadly stabbing in Renton. That stabbing happened on Friday afternoon in a home along Northeast 18th Street. Investigators say a 19-year-old called police saying he stabbed a handyman. When officers got there, they found the teen waiting outside. The 66-year-old man died before he could be taken to the hospital. Investigators need your help finding a person who robbed a mail carrier at gunpoint. This happened in Kent on September 23rd at the Washington Park Apartments on the 11,000 block of Southeast Kent-Kangley Road. The U.S. Postal Inspection Service released these surveillance images. They say this robber got away with mail and packages belonging to residents from that apartment building. Authorities are asking anyone who saw the armed robbery or anyone who has suffered financial loss due to the stolen mail and packages to call that number that's on your screen right now. It is 1-877-876-2455. When the automated system answers, you should say law enforcement, and it will direct your call. We've also posted this number on our website, KOMOnews.com. A group of asylum seekers who spent months living in a Kent encampment are now staying at a hotel in Tacoma. The group Thrive International is helping the 360 people, many of whom fled from strife-torn places like Congo, Angola, and Venezuela.
They've made some treacherous journeys to come to the United States, and they're committed to get themselves up on their feet and start investing into our community.
Thrive International says their goal is to get the families the help they need so they can find work and stability, in turn opening up space for the next group of asylum seekers. We're told 44 of those families have already transitioned into stable housing. Dock workers from New England to the Gulf Coast are back on the picket lines this morning in day 2 of their strike. Experts say the union that represents 45,000 dock workers might hold the upper hand in their contract standoff with the port operators. Pressure to settle the labor dispute is building before it severely impacts shipping and the nation's economy. And this is all happening as the busy holiday shopping season fast approaches.
Everything that comes into this country comes in through us. The supply that everyone receives daily, it comes through us. And we're not appreciated.
Union members say support from the Biden administration fuels their cause. The impasse could cost the U.S. billions of dollars a day. Experts say for each day the strike lasts, it could take nearly a week to clear the backlog. New here at 11, the King County Sheriff's Office has unveiled its newest asset for air support. This new helicopter will take over as King County's Guardian 1. The Sheriff's Office says the new chopper will help deputies and police officers do their jobs more effectively, and it can help save lives. This new helicopter is also instrument flight rated, which means it can fly in more adverse weather conditions than the previous chopper could. Heating your home will cost more this winter. The National Energy Assistance Directors Association expects home heating expenses in the U.S. to jump more than 10%. Colder temperatures are expected for the Northeast and the Midwest. People who heat with electricity will be hit the hardest with a 13% jump. The expense of maintaining and upgrading the electric grid is driving up those costs. Heating with propane or natural gas will also go up more than 7%. Those who heat with oil are expected to see a 6% increase. Do we need the heat today? Let's get a live look outside, and gosh, it's a beautiful start, isn't it? There's a view of the waterfront, and we've got some blue skies as we look over there towards the Olympics as well. Time to check in with George for an update on that forecast. I like how it's starting today, George.
Oh, God, I love that look. Vibrant blue skies and the water looking lovely as well. Yeah, it's a little cooler than normal, so may have to turn on the heat just a little bit, especially tonight, because we will drop actually into the 40s, some spots even into the upper 30s. Taking a live look at Bellingham Bay. Quiet weather. We had some morning clouds. Those are in the process of clearing, and temperatures are still on the cool side, 55 degrees. And one color you may notice, aside from blue today, autumn fall colors like red and orange. And if you didn't know, we're approaching the peak of our fall foliage season. For the interior lowlands around Seattle, that peak tends to be mid to late October. And by the way, weather is a factor in how vibrant the leaves look. We tend to get the most color, generally speaking, when we have warm and sunny fall days. This allows those leaves to produce some of the pigments that show off that bright red color. Cool but not freezing nights, also a contributing factor. You don't want it too cold because hard frost can actually kill those leaves before they would change color, and then they just fall off, and we don't want that, right? Mid to upper 50s right now, 60 in Port Angeles, and a few areas seeing some light rain. Not many of us, most of us dry. The Strait here over toward Forks, some light, brief showers. And then I'll be watching the foothills of the Cascades, east of Mount Vernon and Arlington, a few spotty showers. Snow level down to around 5,000 feet. There's a couple systems. One is weak, and it's to the north. You can see a little rain, snow here over British Columbia. And then a stronger system. Look at that swirl, quite vigorous. There's also a jet stream. This is kind of like a quickly moving batch of air at upper levels of the atmosphere, say 4, 5, 6 miles high. And this moisture will kind of combine efforts with that storm system, and everything will swing in, giving us a good chance for rain on Friday. Probably more rain than you've seen in a while. The first storm system, though, passes to the north. We're in between systems today and tomorrow. But by Friday morning, this is 4 o'clock, the showers already pushing into parts of the Olympic Peninsula. Then by 7:30 in the morning, getting closer to Seattle. Again, this is Friday morning. The winds pick up. Right now it looks, as it stands, the best chance for rain during the commute to work on Friday would be later in the commute toward lunch hour as that first batch of showers passes. Now behind this for Friday afternoon, a few lingering showers, but much cooler weather. And then this next system looks like it'll pass to the north of us for the weekend. So Friday's the main day we'll be watching for rain, with things kind of clearing out on Saturday. Sunday looks to be an even warmer, nicer day. So let's walk you through the forecast. Today, mostly sunny from Edmonds, Federal Way, Auburn. generally speaking, low to mid 60s, but a little farther to the north and eastern zones here, the foothills of the Cascades, slight chance of a shower, otherwise upper 50s to low 60s. The peninsula here, Olympic Peninsula, again, a few spotty showers, but generally speaking, dry with low to mid 60s and warmer weather for eastern portions of the state, where we'll have a little bit more sunshine in some areas into the mid 70s. Now, cooler tonight, mostly clear conditions will allow the temperatures to fall off a little more dramatically than they did last night into this morning. Upper 30s to low 40s around the Sound, Seattle at 45. Be advised tomorrow morning, fog will be possible on some of the roadways, especially as we take you to the western Sound into the Chehalis Valley. And then for tomorrow, a little warmer than today with a good amount of sunshine, mid to upper 60s there. As far as rainfall on Friday morning, the potential for maybe up to a ½ inch in some areas around the Sound, higher amounts for the Olympic Peninsula, and temperatures stay kind of on the cool side through around Sunday when we begin to warm back up just a little bit. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Again, we're quiet for now on the cool side, warming a little bit tomorrow ahead of Friday's rain, that next weather maker. That comes with a front, so Friday afternoon, even after the showers pass, cool and gusty. Then this weekend looks good. Saturday we'll have cooler temperatures and clouds in the morning that should clear, and then in the afternoon on Sunday, looking at a better chance for some of that sunshine with temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. All in all, a nice looking forecast, Molly.
Oh yeah, that is beautiful fall days ahead. George, thank you. New GPS measurements show Mount Everest is getting taller by about 2 millimeters a year. According to the journal Nature Geoscience, this extra lift is from a recent geological incident. Scientists at China University discovered that 89,000 years ago, the Kosi River in the Himalayas caught part of a tributary, the Uran River. This process is known as river piracy, and it reshaped the landscape. Rock below Everest began to erode, and other parts of the Himalayas shifted upward to compensate for that loss. This lifted Everest and 2 other nearby peaks by at least 49 feet, maybe as much as 164 feet. Pretty incredible. That's it for KOMO News at 11 a.m. We'll see you back here on the air at 3:30. You can also find us on KOMOnews.com and your favorite social media platform.